conference because it is the Manchester Derby press conference. Everyone was saying this is a huge week for Erik Ten Hag, which it is. The media circulating, vultures circling around Erik Ten Hag's job, and he hits back in his recent presser and hits back again today in this press conference. We're going to be talking about injury boost, team news for the City game, Ten Hag, what he thinks about Fulham, giving a little bit of a dig at Fulham for what they said about Bruno, him backing his players and saying overall this is a good period for Manchester United and we need to look at the bigger picture. We're going to get into it all on today's presser. Get your comments in. Huge game. First of all, do you think we have a chance against City? Get that in the comments because, you know, with Man United, it's always the hope that kills you. I'm going into that game not optimistic at all, but can we pull something out of the bag? We've done it before. Can we do it again? But let's get cracking with Erik Ten Hag's press conference. Welcome everyone to the show. I will be doing the presser. As you saw, Goldbridge was in the Goldbridge Arms earlier today. Think he might have had too many beers in there because, you know, he's not here this afternoon. So he's had a beer pump fitted. I mean, God knows what he's up to right now. So yeah, it will be me on the presser today. But let's start off with the injury boost, and this is super, super important. Ten Hag straight away on Rafael Varane and Bruno Fernandes. He said they fought to be part and they came well out of the game. I think they will be available on Sunday. I don't think players will return for Sunday. So the players that were previously out, which are Højlund, Maguire, Shaw, Martinez, Mount, Martial, Wan-Bissaka and Malacia, they are out for the derby. But Rafael Varane and Bruno Fernandes, despite suffering knocks and being doubts for the Forest game, they have come out of that game well and are able to play on the derby. And this is absolutely huge news. I mean, people saw the video of Bruno Fernandes limping off again yesterday. And Ten Hag was talking about how the Forest players were targeting Bruno. We're talking about a fan base here that some of them, you know, prefer Sancho to be a United player than Bruno. Like, it's absolutely crazy. This guy would run through a brick wall for Man United. He's had a poor season. I admit that. On the football pitch, he's not been great, but the attitude and his fight and hunger to play for Man United can never be questioned. Everyone gets your comments in. Mark's, I don't know if he's actually drunk, but, you know, who knows? Who knows? Drunk Bridge, get it in the chat. But everyone get your comments in around this. What midfield did you play? I've seen some people saying that Bruno should play as a false nine to fit Amrabat into the midfield because Amrabat played so well yesterday and Rashford's not really a striker. Would you do that? I'd be tempted to do that. Let me know what you think. But Ten Hag also got asked about Casemiro's mentality. He said, passion, desire, determination, that is the base. Definitely for the game on Sunday. So basically saying that Casemiro summed up exactly what we need against City. Passion, desire, determination. That is the baseline. And I always say this, like, you know, you need to be a Man United player, you've got to have the skill, you've got to have, you know, you've got to have the technique, you've got to be a good football player, of course you have, and you've got to be an elite player, but the base of any player is you have to have passion, desire and determination. And that's what players who haven't succeeded at Manchester United have lacked over the years. Like, for example, I think Sancho's a really talented player. I don't think he has passion, desire or determination from what I've seen from him. That's why he can't be successful. And other players have come and gone from Man United have had that. But with players that, okay, yeah, Casemiro doesn't always have a good game. Bruno, he's been very poor this season. These are traits that these players possess, which is why I'll always support them when they're playing for Manchester United, because do we need to maybe upgrade in the future? Yes, we do. But are the players that have the baseline for Manchester United? Yes, they do. And that's what Casemiro shows. I mean, I've criticised Casemiro before. You know, I think our structure doesn't suit him. I think he is declining as the years go on. I still think he's a very good player, Casemiro. I still think, and he can get you a goal out of nothing as well. He's built for knockout games. He's built for the big occasion because he's done it so many times across his career in the past. So he will be important in the derby. And, you know, the thing is about the derby, and this is what you could see from Casemiro's goal yesterday, we have to be really defensively solid. I expect us to go to the Etihad and park the bus. I really do. That's how Ollie got results at the Etihad. That's the team that we've got at the moment. We're riddled with injuries. We can't go to the Etihad and go toe-to-toe with City. We're just not capable. We'll get battered. I expect us to park the bus. If we can keep City out, that's a big if. You've got the likes of Casemiro who can come up with a goal out of nothing. That's your one outlet. You used to think it'd be Rashford on the break with a pace. Hopefully, you know, I'm not really kind of banking on Rashford to get us out of trouble, to be honest with you, with his form at the minute. You know, Garnacho as well. Like, yeah, okay, he's got pace on the break, but not Hoyland, I wish we had Hoyland, but Casemiro is really someone off a set piece. All you need is a set piece. He can make something happen. This is what's super important as well. Like, Liverpool have it with Van Dijk, Arsenal have it with Gabriel, United do have that goal threat off a set piece with Casemiro, and we need to utilise that. And that's exactly what we did yesterday with Casemiro, because we were struggling yesterday at the City Ground. We were, and some would say that's embarrassing. I would probably agree, but that's where we're at the moment. And also, it was Elanga who actually gave the free kick away for Bruno's free kick, by the way. So I like Elanga, but dancing last season after this season after Forest beat us in the league, well, you know, come on now. United through in the FA Cup. Tyler Wilson says Rashford and Dele Alli having the same career. They're completely different players and completely different circumstances, to be honest with you. Paul Pogba's been banned from football. Tell me something I don't know. Think I've not checked my phone today? I mean, to be fair, some people haven't, but yeah, Pogba banned. I'm glad we got rid of him. Pogba FC, come for me, I don't care. Like, I used to love Pogba, I used to back Pogba, but I got fed up. I really did get fed up. One thing Pogba did, though, is he turned up to the Etihad and he played a good game. Remember that 3-2 when they were about to win the league? We need some of that. We need some of that tomorrow. So, Pogba, it's sad that he's banned. He was one of the most talented players I've generally ever seen play live. But his career is fallen off a cliff. But Pogba doesn't play for Man United anymore. This is Ten Hag's presser. Ten Hag on squad comparisons with City. Our form, we are also on a good run. The spirit is very good. We have done it before against City, also against Liverpool. We will prepare well. The players are looking forward to it. I can smell it. I am excited. So Ten Hag is obviously not going to come out in his press conference and say, you know what, yeah, I really am worried for this game. I'm nervous, don't really fancy turning up. He's not going to say that, obviously. He's got to prepare his team and give them the feeling that they can go onto that football pitch and they can win. Is it going to be men against boys? Yes, it will be, in my opinion. Is it going to be a mismatch in terms of squads overall, especially with our injuries? 100%. Are we massive, massive underdogs going into this game? Absolutely we are, but Ten Hag is right. We have done it before and we've got to give everything to this game. It's not 100% certain that City are going to win. I'd probably say it's like 95%, like generally at this point. But where there's a chance, we've got to do our best. We've got to work hard. We've got to set up with a good structure. We've got to fight for every single ball and defend with our lives. And we've got to take our opportunities because we will get a chance. One thing that we will have a chance, what we can't afford to do is do what we've done in numerous weeks. It's where make the wrong decision in the final pass, shoot when we should be passing it, you know, waste these opportunities. We've got the slim opportunities we have, we will have some, we've got to take them, and that's what's really important. Ten Hag also on City, they are a good team, there are more good teams, they last in the last season everything, that is the challenge. Liverpool, I think that means they have won in the last season everything. That is the challenge. Liverpool also have a good team. We like challenges. Also talking about how he's got Liverpool in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, which, calling it early, I think we're actually going to win. I think we're going to get through the FA Cup. I don't know why. I've just got a feeling. I also said yesterday that I had a feeling we'd score in the 88th minute, a winner before the Forest game. Lo and behold, Casemiro scores in the 88th minute. You know, call me psychic. City game, I don't think we're going to win, just going to be honest. Liverpool in the quarterfinals, obviously they might have players back by then, and I'm hoping we're going to have Hoyland back. But at Old Trafford, I fancy us. And I tell you what, everyone's circling on Erik Ten Hag, you know, all the Ten Hag outers out there, which, okay, yeah, you can have your own opinion. But Ten Hag, if he does Wembley back-to-back seasons, that's not bad, considering the project he's come into. Obviously, he took us, we won the Carabao Cup last year. We went to Wembley in the semi-final and the final of the FA Cup. Remember, in the FA Cup, you go to Wembley for the semi-final. We beat Liverpool in the quarters. We're through to the semi-final. That's back-to-back Wembley trips in his first 2 seasons. I think that's pretty good going, considering the state we're in. But of course, I recognise the style of play is not good enough. We need to massively improve. But if he does that, I'll be impressed. It's a positive stat in his favour. People like to bring up the negative stats. That's a positive stat in his favour, but you've got to get through Liverpool first, which isn't going to be easy. Tawanda says, let's go for a draw against City. Erik Ten Hag will keep Rashford as the striker, a failure every day. I mean, let's get in the poll. I think against City, I think I would actually go with Bruno false 9, you know. I think I would. I was saying McTominay the other day, I keep changing my mind. Again, I'm not the coach, and good thing I'm not. I keep changing my mind, but Rashford at centre forward, it's just not working, is it? It's really not working. Bruno's actually been making some good runs in behind recently that Anana's been finding him from. It's going to be tough against City centre-backs, of course it is going to be, but I think if you get Rashford off the left, which is his favourite position, like he's not bringing us anything from a centre-forward. And he has got attributes to bring. Get him off the left. He's going to have to track back though, that's the one thing he'll have to do. He will have to track back. But get Bruno as a false nine. Bruno's pressing on Rodri could be key. I don't trust Rashford to press Rodri properly. Do you remember the game that we won here at the not the Etihad? Do you remember the game that we won here at Old Trafford last season, the 2-1? Martial did an excellent job in the first half. Martial's like, obviously he's going to leave Man United, but he did do a really good job in the first half of cutting off Rodri's passing lanes, which was super important. Rodri is literally the stem of everything that comes from Man City. Of course, Ederson's great and the centre-backs, all the defenders are great on the ball, but Rodri's so crucial. I don't trust Rashford playing as a centre-forward to press Rodri properly. I think Rodri has a field day against Rashford. With Bruno there, I actually trust Bruno to do the work. You can play Rashford off the left, Garnacho off the right. I think Garnacho's a better right winger, I'm going to be honest, from what I've seen. I like Garnacho off the right. That is how I think you approach this game. I think you could get in there. Bruno's got in behind against City before in the past. That's how we got that controversial goal last time that City said that was offside. Probably was offside, to be honest with you. But I would be tempted to do Bruno as a false nine against City. Get in the comments what you would think, because he's going to play. And then it allows you to open up the midfield of, you're going to play Casemiro and Kobbie Mainoo. I would be so tempted to bring Amrabat in after his performance yesterday in the second half. The first half was very shaky. Second half, he was coming into the midfield, he was spreading them passes, he was getting involved. He's a bit lax, Amrabat, though. And that's one thing you can't afford to be against City, because they'll punish you. As soon as you give away possession to them, which we will, they'll punish you. So we need as little as that as possible, but I'd be tempted. I really would be tempted to do that and use Bruno's work rate a little bit further forward onto Rodri. Let me know what you think about that. But yes, next up on the press conference, Ten Hag on his thoughts on Ratcliffe's knock off their perch comment, when Ratcliffe said he wanted to knock Liverpool and City off their perch. There's nothing he'd love more. He said, I think that has nothing to do with each other. We want to win every game. That is always our mentality. It doesn't matter who is the opponent. You always want to play against the best. Opposition get their best outputs against Manchester United. We have to give everything, a team performance, if we want to get a result there. So basically, you know, avoided comment on Ratcliffe's comment. I think that's just a bit of professionalism there from Ten Hag. But he's saying we can beat this team. We just have to put our best performance in, which Man United don't do. Ten Hag was speaking about in his last presser that you can't give 90-95%. You've got to give 100%. And, you know, United can give 100% and everything tomorrow, and City is still a better team and is still more likely to beat us. But at least you've given yourself the best possible opportunity. Carpe Diem says Bernardo Silva plays the false nine very well. Bruno can do it, but we do not have the team for this. This is our only option. We cannot play Rashford. And Hamadi says, I'd rather put Kwambwala as false nine rather than Rashford. I mean, that's a little bit harsh. McTominay false nine says just Kevin. I mean, get in your comments what you think. McTominay or Bruno. I reckon if we did a poll on, at the moment the poll is, would you play Bruno at false nine versus City? It's 52% yes, 48% said no. I reckon if we did a poll of Bruno at 9, McTominay at 9, or Rashford at 9, I reckon Bruno or McTominay both get more votes than Rashford, so maybe we can do that, admin, in the chat. Ten Hag on previous matches with Man City. He says, we did it in several ways, many ways to be successful. From all the games we look back, we won one time. We need a great day. It is also what we know the players need to give their best. So he's basically saying we've beat Manchester City before. We've done it in different ways. And to be successful, we need to look back at the games that we've won. We know that we need a great day, but we also know that the players need to give the best. He knows that Man United aren't the favourites, but he knows we can do it if we play the right football and the players approach the game in the right way. It's not, you know, at the end of the day, it's Man City. Yes, the best team in England, but they are beatable. Bournemouth held them to 1-0 the other day. I think, was it Brentford? Oh, there was another team that they only just beat by 1 goal. Luton, they absolutely played them off the park and killed them in the first half. But what we've got to do is we've got to be really defensively solid and have a great structure. We need to do what we did at Anfield. When we went to Anfield and we literally were just pure, it was pure getting people behind the ball, keeping your defensive structure. If you get a break, you get a break. But we went to Anfield, let's keep it a draw, let's keep it 0-0. If we can nick a goal, we can nick a goal. And we nearly did, to be fair. So that's the way we need to approach it, in my opinion. Getting the votes down below who you would play at the 9, Rashford, Bruno or McTominay. I would play Bruno false 9 personally, but would rather play McTominay there than Rashford, I think. I just think Rashford's better off the left. You want to utilise him from the left. You do. You'll never guess who's on the back of this shirt. People keep commenting on this shirt. I actually have Martial on the back of this shirt. I know. Whoever I get on the back of the shirt, it never ends well. I had Fred on the back of another one because I loved Fred when we first got him. I got Fred, like, genuinely. I used to love Martial, but that worked out well, didn't it? Ten Hag on Bruno. What I love about Ten Hag, he's been backing his player. He backed him yesterday in the post-match, calling social media pathetic for criticising Bruno. I'm going to be honest, and he meant on the injury. I'm going to be honest, obviously everyone's allowed the voice on social media. That's just the way it works, but I agreed with Ten Hag. There was about a 3-second clip going around social media of Bruno going down in the Fulham game and then getting back up after he takes a shot and then getting back up and running again after that. If anyone watched the Fulham game, I don't know if it was on TV because I watched it in the ground, but if you watched it in the ground, you'll have seen that Bruno literally hobbled towards the finish line and was still giving everything but hobbling, limping for the rest of that game. Everyone would have seen Bruno limping after the game yesterday. I don't know what it is with him. Obviously, Ten Hag said he's got a high pain threshold, but he would run through brick walls to play for this badge, and that's, again, an attribute that you should admire about someone. You can think Bruno gives it away too much, you can think he's had a bad season, but he will run through a brick wall for the badge, and that's what you want. So Ten Hag on Bruno, he said he's a very passionate football player, a creative football player. He's created the most in the Premier League. Opponents are targeting him, especially after Saturday. I feel the referee should protect him. They had a chance from the start of the game. It was so obvious. Love this from Ten Hag. Do you want to know why I love it? Because he's already planting the seed for Sunday. He's calling the referees out for not protecting Bruno and saying that he's being targeted. It's mind games. Now when we go into Sunday, you know, it's in the back of the referee's head now. You know, if someone does a harsh foul on Bruno, you're probably just subconsciously more likely to get the yellow for them or something like that. But he's noticed that Bruno's obviously getting a lot of stick and he's being targeted. I mean, the throat holding one was a joke, like an absolute joke how that wasn't a red card, by the way. Do you think, you know, imagine if like Phil Foden or Saka was getting held like that, young English player. Oh God, there'd be outcries. There'd be absolute outcries. Because it's Bruno Fernandes and he moans a bit and people don't like him, apparently it shouldn't be a red card. Yet the Casemiro one, he was literally holding a player back, yet Casemiro got a red card. It's a joke. But Ten Hag's seen this and he's telling them that Bruno needs to be protected. I think it's important that he's called that out. And again, he's backing his player, which I also think is important because he's his captain and he's getting behind him. Keel Robinson says playing McTominay 9 is just common sense. Well, he's a goal scorer. That's all I can say. It's very limited options. The only thing is, McTominay yesterday, I know he wasn't playing at 9. He did have some opportunities, to be fair, like some headers, and he should have scored one of them. But McTominay yesterday, when he's not coming off the bench, he's such a ghost. And he gives the ball away too much. I mean, I can't talk because Bruno does, and I like him, but you don't get enough output, I don't think, across 90 minutes with McTominay. But I would be up for trying it. Beth the Jinx, yeah. Honestly, I'm definitely a shirt drinks. Don't get the new Rasmus shirt then. Yeah, I'm not going to get a Rasmus shirt until I'm absolutely certain that it's undrinksable. I mean, he's got the number 11, which has been quite an unlucky number for us in the past, and he's doing all right so far, so fingers crossed. George says, it is blatant abuse. He isn't physically good looking, so people see him moan, but any other player like De Bruyne or Odegaard, and there will be an outburst. Just Keevan says, Beth will get an Onana shirt soon. I was debating getting an Onana shirt for like the first game of the season, but I went against it, and good job I didn't, because that'd be another one that I'd curse. But Onana's actually going through a really good spell now, so I'm happy about that. We're going to need him against City, and he will get tested. Hopefully he'll come through that with flying colours. he kept a clean sheet at Anfield, so hopefully. And Ten Hag on Bruno's reputation, so he goes further in detail on Bruno. He said, "That is your impression. I thought it was definitely a foul on Saturday. It was misjudged from the media, social media to blame for it. That was my point. Opponents are targeting him. That is not right, and the referee should protect him." So he doubles down on his point and he's backing his player and calling it out. And that's exactly what Ten Hag should be doing. Strong management and sending a message to the outsiders as well. I love it. It's Man United against the world. That's how it should be. He also speaks about Fulham's TikTok, and they were basically Fulham's TikTok. They were taking the mick out of Bruno, basically. Which, you know, it's social media. It's not really that deep. But Ten Hag said, "I didn't know this. If they did it, I would say it is not right. It's absolutely not right that a club makes such statement. Totally out of order and wrong. They should apologise for this." So Ten Hag's really, really annoyed about how the outside world are treating Bruno Fernandes. He thinks it's unfair, and he's now calling Fulham out for it. He said he didn't know about it, but they should apologise. To be honest, like, clubs are going to give banter with social medias on TikTok. Like, it is what it is. I don't think they should go as far as to apologise for it. But at the end of the day, the ref should be getting the bookings right. I'm absolutely in agreement with that. And I think our own fans, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to call it our own fan base, need to be more appreciative of a player that will literally... You know what it is? It's the hypocrisy. You know, you'll see, like, Sancho FC on Twitter being, like, slating Bruno and begging for Sancho to be back. But it's like, Bruno literally will give anything for the shirt. And Sancho basically down tools completely and went against the manager. Like, how can that compute in your... I don't get how that can compute to you. Bruno, you can have everyone's allowed an opinion on him as a player, as a footballer. That's the way the world works, you know. If you don't think he's good enough, if you think he's press, he causes our team shape to fall apart, if he just frustrates you as a footballer, completely understand it. I have players like that. But going in, that people call it saying he was faking an injury, he was trying to duck City like he ducked Anfield with that yellow card. All that sort of stuff. I think it was just complete... You know, it came across as like hate to me, and I don't think that's fair, and that's just my opinion. So I agree with Ten Hag on that side of things, but Fulham, other clubs are always going to make like social media banter. We've done it before. Like, that's just the way it is. Like, it's just banter at the end of the day. He also, oh God, he speaks about Bruno again. I missed this one. He said highly, very highly. He's I don't know. I'm only reading quotes because I've not seen the video, but it says Ten Hag on Bruno again, highly, very highly. I think that means he rates him highly, like rates him very highly. He's, first of all, his football skills, so creative in the final third, creating chances. He can score a goal. Also, his outputs, his contribution for defending, reading the situation, the press, but also to be the example by running and supporting players around him. So anyone who was, you know, kind of saying Ten Hag is frustrated by, you know, Bruno and mounts Bruno's replacement, I don't see that at all. Ten Hag clearly really likes Bruno. He picked him as his captain. I mean, he took the captaincy off Maguire, which he didn't have to do, to give it to Bruno Fernandes. And again, he's backing him completely. Bruno's under a lot of heat at the minute throughout the United fan base, but just in general, and he's completely backing him. And I agree with as a Bruno lover myself, I agree with what he's saying. Like, you either really like Bruno or you don't, in my opinion. Like, he's like Marmite. Either fans like love him or they can't stand watching him play. Like, that's how I've kind of seen it, especially over the last few weeks. I love Bruno. I think he's had a poor season, and his performances over the last few weeks are some of the worst I've ever seen him play for Manchester United. I'm going to be honest, and I've called that out. But as a player, I don't think there's any doubting for me how good he is, like, as a player. And, you know, form is temporary, class is permanent. That's my opinion. And that's how I feel about Bruno, but I know a lot of people don't. So I just think he gives you everything. I've always argued this. His defensive output, his running, his creativity, he's got great ball striking ability. This season has been his worst in United shirt. His last few games have been terrible, but I see past that, and I do think he's a great player. And Ten Hag clearly thinks that as well. And he's backed him as a leader as well, which is coming under question a lot of the time. Ten Hag on the derby. If a derby is a season-defining match, no, there are many more games to play. In the FA Cup, after City and many more games, we have to catch up more games to catch up and get in the right position, kind of downplaying the game a little bit. And to be honest, it's not a season-defining game. Like, obviously you want to win at the Etihad. Obviously you always want to beat City. But let's be honest, do any of us here have an expectation of going into this game and getting a win? What was a game that we had to win was Fulham. You can't afford to lose them games when you're in a race for top 4 in the position we're in. We did. That's games you can't afford to lose. The City game, I think we're all on planet Earth. We're not on the moon, and we can understand, considering where we're at in the season and the difference in squads, the injury list that we have, it's going to be very, very difficult to get a result at City. I'd absolutely snap your hand off at a draw. I'd be over the moon with a draw. I don't even see that being possible right now. That's so negative going into it. But it's not, Ten Hag can't say it's a season-defining match because there's a very high likelihood that we'll lose this game. But it is important. It's always important to give your best against your rivals. And if we do somehow manage to get a result and win it, that kind of sets aside the Fulham game and you can carry on with your season and kind of get yourself back on track. But we've still got a good fixture list ahead of that, and we can collect some points. You've got to focus on beating the Evertons, the Sheffield Uniteds at the moment for United, and this game's a tough one. I want us to win not only for our sake of Champions League football, but I also don't want City to win the league. I don't want City or Liverpool to win the league. If that means I want Arsenal to win the league, then that's what it means. I can't stand City or Liverpool. Arsenal fans are annoying on social media, yeah, and I don't particularly like them. But City or Liverpool, the 4P and then going equal on our titles in Klopp's final season, it's just, I don't want that to happen. So there's a lot riding in this game, and we could do a favour in the title race, to be honest with you, because it's going to be that close. But the FA Cup quarter-final is massive. It's massive. It's our only chance of silverware, and obviously the games for us that we have to be winning, the Fulhams, the Evertons, the Sheffield Uniteds, there's what we need to go in and win in them games. Michael Winther Anderson says Bruno looks he said Bruno looks stylish and gets credit for 2-metre passes to wingers or players and then do something individually. He's one of the worst footballers and he's only about counter-attack. I mean, a lot of people do have that opinion. Like, I know a lot of you guys in the chat don't rate Bruno, even though I've just said my opinion on him. That is absolutely fine. You know, Ricky, I love speaking football with Ricky. Ricky really doesn't like him. Like, we still have good football debates and chats and stuff. Paul Irwin says, may as well put Bruno at 9 then, at least he can press from the front. Then compact midfield of McTominay, Amrabat and Cassie with Anthony for his defensive duties on the right and Garnacho off the left. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate that super chat. Get in the comments what you would do. Get in any, quickly before at the end of the show, by the way, get in anything you want to say about the lineup or how we're going to line up for this game, how you expect us to line up if you play Amrabat, if you play McTominay, because I'm just going to go through what my lineup would be. Also, please remember, we have a live derby preview at 8 p.m. live tonight on the United Stand. Special guests. We've got Kev, we've got Ricky, we've got a City fan. It's going to be great and it's going to be a proper rival preview. So look forward to that at 8 p.m. later on. But my team, quick sneak peek of what my team would be, I think, going into the derby on Sunday. I've changed it a little bit from when I was on the forum last night. I'd play Onana in goal. I'd play Dalot, Varane, Evans and Lindelof across the back 4. I'd play a midfield 3 of Casemiro, Mainu and Amrabat, and I'd play a front 3 of Garnacho off the right, Bruno as a false 9 and probably Rashford off the left. But I would be tempted to play Garnacho off the left and Anthony off the right because Anthony's defensive work rate is great as well. It's just, you know, who's going to get you goals on the counter-attack, Rashford and Garnacho, to be honest with you. And Rashford's a much better left winger than he is striker. As a striker, it's hopeless. If he's going to play as a striker, I agree with the chat saying, you know, Kumbuala could do a better job. Like, genuinely, as a striker, he just doesn't give you much. But as a left winger, he can be dangerous. So that's what I would go with. Get in your comments. The Hey United fan says Erik Ten Hag is the boss. Wiggleman says Bruno's had a bad few months and people are saying he's garbage, unbelievable. He's been the most consistent player for the past few years. Wiggleman, patience is thin and memories are short, sadly. Memories are short. I always think that in football. But look, everyone, thank you very much for joining me for the Ten Hag presser, the derby presser. Get in the comments all your predictions going into this derby. Hit a like on the video on your way out. Thank you for joining us and stay tuned for the 8 p.m. show later.